Yo, it's Makiana, and today I'll be covering one of the greatest in-ring rivalries in British wrestling history, and that's the rivalry between the Aerial Assassin, the Commonwealth Kingpin, the man that looks like Macklemore, Will Ospreay, versus ZSJ, the Submission Master, Zack Sabre Jr. Now, these two have been compared for a long time because they are two of the best British wrestlers on the planet, with Will Ospreay being one of the best high flyers, and with Zack Sabre Jr. being one of the best technical wrestlers. They are the perfect foil to each other's style. So without further ado, let's take a look at some of these matches. Match number 1, Progress Chapter 19. Ospreay starts this match absolutely guns blazing, with a mix of strikes, a springboard somersault, then an Os cutter. Sabre escapes the ring, and Ospreay hits another slingshot somersault. Ospreay starts to slow down the match a little bit with a few suplexes and some more stiff strikes. He then attempts a handspring move, but Zack Sabre kicks his hand out from under him. Sabre starts doing a great job of keeping Ospreay grounded with some very vicious offense targeted towards Ospreay's arm. Ospreay tries to get some offense in with a handspring, but the damage done to his arm causes him to fall. And Sabre tries to keep the offense going, but Ospreay channels his inner lucha and hits a hurricanrana. Ospreay briefly takes control of the match with a springboard kick and some flippy stuff. He tries to get an Os cutter, but it is reversed into an armbar. Ospreay is able to escape and does a cheeky Nando's kick, and guess that is what he decided to name the move, and then a jumping DDT. Ospreay's attempt at a standing moonsault is reversed, and when the two men get back to their feet, they start exchanging some hard strikes. Ospreay tries to surprise Sabre with an armbar, but Sabre easily escapes and hits Ospreay with a penalty kick and then a dragon suplex. Sabre puts Ospreay on the top rope for a tiger suplex, but Ospreay is able to reverse this and hit a reverse hurricanrana. Ospreay follows this up with a shooting star press and then a red arrow, which ends the match. A very solid and fast-paced match. They were both kind of trying to end the match as quickly as possible because they both already wrestled twice earlier on in the evening, but it was still a very exciting match, and I would give it an 8 out of 10. Match number 2, Evolve 58. Now this match starts with some mat wrestling, and Will Ospreay is surprisingly able to keep up with Zack Sabre on the mat, taking top control for a brief moment and reversing multiple of Zack Sabre's snapmare attempts. Ospreay gets him offense in with a springboard arm drag and then a couple of drop kicks. He shoots for an Os cutter, but he is reversed into a dragon suplex. Sabre starts locking in numerous submissions targeting the head and neck area, including an inverted triangle, a octopus stretch, and a variation of the lion tamer, and then targets his legs with a calf crush. Ospreay is able to escape Sabre's attempt to lock in a bow and arrow, and then he speeds the match back up with a springboard kick, a phenomenal forearm, and then a shooting star press. Sabre leaves the ring, but Ospreay follows him outside with a Sasuke special. He gets Sabre back into the ring and does an Os cutter and only gets a 2 count. Ospreay attempts a 630 senton and hits him with a tiger suplex and locks in a arm-trapped dragon sleeper. Sabre goes for the pin, but Ospreay rolls out and hits a shooting star press and then a phoenix splash. Ospreay tries to steal Okada's move but gets reversed into a tornado DDT, which Ospreay literally just completely no-sells and tries to go for a shooting star press but is caught into an arm triangle. Ospreay does his best John Jones impression, lifting him up and throwing him into the corner. He tries to go for a running attack into the corner but gets put into the tree of woe. Ospreay is able to slip out of Sabre's attempt for a dragon suplex, and Ospreay hits him with a cheeky Nando's kick and then a Essex Destroyer. Ospreay attempts a corkscrew moonsault, but Sabre gets his knees up, and then he penalty kicks him and then hits him with a Liger Bomb. Ospreay kicks out at 1, but Sabre slaps on a submission and makes him tap. Even though this match was around the same time as the last match, and around at the same pace as the last match, you still get to see a bit more of each wrestler's moveset, with Sabre's wide range submissions and Will Ospreay's wide range of high-flying moves. I give this match a 9 out of 10. Match number 3, Progress Chapter 34. Now this match also starts slow, and Sabre is easily able to take Ospreay down and lock in a few brief submissions. Ospreay starts to catch on to Sabre's grappling, reversing all of his snapmare attempts. Ospreay is able to get some offense in after outmaneuvering Sabre's takedown attempts, hitting him with some stiff strikes. But Sabre is able to reverse one of Ospreay's springboard attempts and then traps his head and neck between the ropes before kicking it. Sabre then starts to target Ospreay's neck with his signature neck twist, a inverted triangle, and then starts to move Ospreay around the ring with a cravat. Ospreay gets himself back into the match, reversing out of Sabre's Japanese stranglehold, and then hitting him with a handspring enziguri. Ospreay tries to take Okada's move again, but it gets reversed into a brainbuster. Sabre puts Ospreay on the top rope, but Ospreay is able to reverse positions, and he attempts a cheeky Nando's kick, but he gets reversed, and Sabre jumps on his back and locks in a rear naked choke, which he then transitions into a guillotine. When he lets Ospreay out the guillotine, they start to reverse each other's moves before Ospreay hits a S6 Destroyer. Ospreay starts to drop knees into Sabre's midsection, and then he Pinaldo kicks him, which Sabre completely no-sells and slaps Ospreay out the ring. Ospreay tries to re-enter the ring with a springboard move, but Sabre uppercuts him. Then Sabre Pinaldo kicks him and Liger bombs him. He goes for the pin, but lets him out at 2 so he can lock in the Young Boy Killer submission. Ospreay is able to escape, and then he hits a cheeky Nando's kick. Ospreay goes for the Oscutter, but it gets reversed into a Dragon Sleeper. He escapes and does 2 shooting star presses, but his Phoenix Splash gets reversed into a arm triangle. Sabre then transitions into an octopus stretch and makes Ospreay tap. Now with this match, you can tell that these two are finally gaining some amazing chemistry with each other. Everything is just improved. The sequences, the transitions, the two of them are just reaching so deep into their bags, is just insane. And I would give this match a 9.5 out of 10. Match number 4. Rev Pro Global Wars 2017. This match starts with some fast-paced grappling, and Ospreay is able to gain top control for a few moments, even locking Sabre into the head scissors. When they get back to their feet, they start reversing each other's attacks, but Sabre leaves the ring after getting drop-kicked. Ospreay puts him back into the ring and starts hitting him with some chops and some kicks, and then hits him with a Hurricanrana. Sabre attempts a rolling armbar, but Ospreay escapes immediately. Sabre leaves the ring and Ospreay does his handspring feint move. But while Ospreay is doing his silly Power Ranger pose, Sabre comes in the ring and Pinaldo kicks him. Sabre slows down the match, beating Ospreay down with some punches and kicks. They start to exchange snapmares until Sabre cranks Ospreay's neck with his foot. Sabre briefly locks in a cravat, but Ospreay escapes and hits a standing moonsault. Ospreay tries to get in more flippy stuff, but Sabre stops him, trapping his head in between the ropes and kicking it. The two men get outside and Sabre starts to target Ospreay's neck some more. They get back into the ring and Sabre locks in a Japanese stranglehold, which Ospreay escapes and attempts a handspring kick but is reversed. Sabre attempts a German suplex but he reverses that, and Ospreay ends up hitting the handspring kick anyway. Ospreay keeps the offense going with a dropkick in the corner, a shooting star press, then a phenomenal forearm. The Oscutter attempt is reversed into a Dragon Sleeper. Sabre tries to hit Ospreay with a European uppercut in the corner, but gets put in position for a cheeky Nando's kick. Sabre is able to reverse and take Ospreay's back, but Ospreay leans him over the ropes and attempts a shooting star press, but it gets reversed. Sabre tries to lock in an armbar, but Ospreay is able to escape very quickly. And the two men get back to their feet and start to exchange strikes, but Ospreay gets the better of him. Sabre tries to get under Ospreay's skin by flipping him off, but Ospreay just batters him further and hits him with a fancy powerbomb. But Sabre no-sells it and hits him with a Liger bomb. So Ospreay no-sells in return and hits Sabre with a Pinaldo kick and then a Robinson special. Once again, his Oscutter is reversed and they start to exchange strikes once again, with Will Ospreay getting the better. Then Ospreay hits a cheeky Nando's kick, an 054, and then a Oscutter. But Sabre is able to roll out the ring before Ospreay can get the pin. He gets Sabre back into the ring and hits a buzzsaw kick and tries to go for a red arrow, but is reversed into an arm triangle. Then Sabre transitions to the octopus stretch, which Ospreay is able to escape, but he eventually taps to the Young Boy Killer. Now this match is the absolute definition of an indie epic. Amazing sequences, lots of no-selling, lots of crazy cool spots. Everything you'll want in the indie matches in this match. Ospreay isn't able to figure out the Sabre puzzle quite yet, as you see how desperate he got just pulling out every move he could think of at the end of the match, but it still wasn't enough. But this match is amazing, an absolute banger. 11 out of 10. Match number 5. G1 Climax 29 in New Japan. This match starts off slow, and Zack gets the upper hand with some grappling, locking in a toe hold and a hammerlock. Ospreay escapes briefly, but the only offense he's able to get in is a dropkick. Ospreay tries to grapple with Sabre, but Sabre snapmares him and twists his neck. Sabre continues to do a great job of keeping Ospreay grounded for a while with numerous chokes. This is until Ospreay escapes and hits a springboard front kick, followed with an enziguri, a 619, a hurricanrana, then a Sasuke special. Ospreay gets Sabre back into the ring and hits a phenomenal forearm, then a Robinson special. Sabre is able to reverse Ospreay's Oscutter attempt, then hitting him with an arm breaker and a tornado DDT. Sabre slows down the match, hitting Ospreay with some strikes, until Ospreay catches one of Sabre's kicks. They have a quick reversal sequence, but Ospreay is able to drop Sabre with a hook kick. Ospreay is finally able to hit the Oscutter, but he only gets a 2 count. Ospreay goes for the hidden blade, but is reversed into an octopus stretch, which is then transitioned to the guillotine, which Ospreay is able to escape with a brainbuster. Ospreay goes for the Stormbreaker, but gets reversed and then Pinaldo kicked. Sabre's next move is reversed, and Ospreay cheeky Nando kicks him and then DDTs him. Sabre catches Ospreay's shooting star press attempt into an arm triangle, but Ospreay escapes this by picking him up and slamming him, and then he hits a shooting star press and then a hook kick. Ospreay shoots for the Stormbreaker once again, but is reversed once again. Sabre slaps on the octopus stretch and makes him tap. This was definitely a solid match. Definitely a step down from their past few encounters, but still pretty good. Sabre just has Ospreay damn near figured out. He couldn't get any of his big moves off, other than like midway through the match. He got some big moves off, but other than that, Ospreay couldn't get much of anything going. He just has Ospreay figured out at this point. I would give this match an 8 out of 10. Match number 6. New Beginnings in Sapporo 2020. This match also starts off pretty slow, with some mat wrestling, but this time, Ospreay is the one controlling Sabre. They exchange a sequence of reversals before Sabre leaves the ring. He re-enters and immediately gets controlled again. Sabre is able to briefly gain back control, but not for long, because Ospreay hits him with a hurricanrana. They both go outside and Will Ospreay front kicks him. Ospreay gets back into the ring and hits a plancha. Ospreay gets Sabre back into the ring, and he chops at Sabre a little bit, but Sabre locks in the octopus stretch and then cranks his neck. Sabre tries to wear Ospreay down with a cravat, but Ospreay escapes, hits a handspring kick, a forearm, a drop kick, and then a suplex. The two men exchange submission attempts until Ospreay gets a figure 4 locked in deep. Ospreay continues to work on Sabre's legs with a knee breaker and some leg kicks, and then a shooting star press onto Sabre's legs. Ospreay then hits a phenomenal forearm. Sabre tries to get back into the match, but Ospreay hits him with a body drop. Sabre reverses the Oscutter and then hits a dragon suplex. And then he Pinaldo kicks Ospreay 3 times, but he only gets a 2 count. Sabre locks in the guillotine but gets brainbusted. Then Ospreay hits an Oscutter, but Sabre is able to escape the ring before he makes the pin. Ospreay puts him back into the ring, but Sabre slides out the other side, so Ospreay just does a Sasuke special. Ospreay finally gets Sabre back into the ring, and he hits a hook kick, and with Sabre on the ground, he tries for the hidden blade, but he gets reversed. Sabre tries to lock in the Clarky Cat, but Ospreay is able to escape before it's fully locked in. Ospreay reverses the Zack Driver and does a reverse Bloody Sunday, but his Stormbreaker is once again reversed and he gets Pinaldo kicked. But Ospreay just no-sells, and then he roundhouse kicks Sabre. Ospreay powerbombs Sabre and then hits him with a shooting star press, but both of his Stormbreaker attempts are reversed, and Zack locks in the Cobra Twist and the ref ends the match. Ospreay almost had it, he just wasn't good enough. He was beating Sabre at his own game, which was the mat wrestling and submissions. He was getting his high-flying moves off. He was pretty much doing everything he wanted in this match. He just got a little bit too desperate at the end with his Stormbreaker attempts and his hidden blade attempts. Just all of his finishers, he just kept shooting for him and they were getting reversed, which left him vulnerable for a submission. But this was a great back-and-forth match, and definitely a step up from their last match. I would give this match a 9 out of 10. Match number 7. Rev Pro High Stakes 2020. Ospreay is once again able to keep up with Sabre's mat work, reversing him and taking control a few times. But Sabre gains control and he starts targeting Ospreay's legs. Sabre tries to keep Ospreay grounded with a headlock, but Ospreay is able to escape and hit a hurricanrana. Sabre leaves the ring, so Ospreay hits him with a plancha. He gets him back into the ring, hits him with a couple of chops and some forearm strikes, but he drops him with a leg kick. Ospreay's standing moonsault is reversed and he gets his neck cranked. Sabre slows down the match, locking in numerous submissions until Ospreay is able to get a rope break from a STF. Once the men are back to their feet, Ospreay hits the handspring enziguri. Ospreay is able to get Sabre into the corner and hit a dropkick, and then a phenomenal forearm. Ospreay attempts to reverse Bloody Sunday, but it's reversed into a sleeper, but Ospreay escapes and hits a standing shooting star press. Sabre locks in the Cobra Twist, then does a dragon suplex. Sabre tries to slow down the match, but Ospreay is no-selling all of his kicks, and then he drops Sabre with a forearm to the jaw. Ospreay no-sells 2 stiff forearms from Sabre and then hits a brainbuster. Ospreay's Oscutter is reversed, but Sabre attempts a dragon suplex, which also gets reversed. Then Ospreay hits a roundhouse kick and then a cheeky Nando's kick. Then Ospreay hits a missile drop kick and a hook kick. Ospreay attempts to hit him blade, but it gets reversed. Sabre locks in the Cobra twist, but is able to escape pretty quickly with a rope break. Sabre Pinaldo kicks him, but Ospreay no-sells him and hits a reverse Bloody Sunday and a standing shooting star press. Ospreay hits an Oscutter and he stops Sabre before he can leave the ring, but he's only able to get a 2 count. Ospreay is desperately trying to hit the Stormbreaker because he shoots for it twice and it gets reversed twice. The second time, Sabre is able to hit him with a Sabre driver, but he only gets a 2 count. He then locks Ospreay into the triangle choke, but Ospreay muscles out and power bombs him off the top rope. Ospreay finally hits the hidden blade and then he hits the Stormbreaker, and he gets a 3 count for the win. Will Ospreay finally solved the Zack Sabre Jr. puzzle. He basically used the same tactics as he did in the last match. He just came into this match a bit heavier. So many great spots, so many great sequences, especially the closing sequence where Ospreay is just trying his absolute hardest to get rid of Sabre and try to end the match. It is just so intense and just epic. It's just hard to explain it. And honestly, I'm going to have to give this match a 12 out of 10. Like, that's the first time I've done that. I've given 2 11 out of 10s, but this is a 12 out of 10. And that's mostly because Ospreay won the match. But like I said, the match is amazing. So many great moments in this match. But Ospreay wins. He finally gets his win over Sabre. So that's why it's better. 12 out of 10. Match number 8. New Japan Cup 2021. Ospreay starts off guns blazing with a drop kick, then a plancha, and then a phenomenal forearm. His Oscutter attempt is reversed, but Ospreay is able to briefly keep control of the match, until Sabre arm drags Ospreay and keeps the focus on Ospreay's arm. That is until Ospreay reverses another arm drag attempt, and the two have a reversal sequence that ends up with Sabre locking in the Cobra twist. But Ospreay is able to quickly escape, and he drop kicks Sabre out the ring. Ospreay comes outside and beats on Sabre for a little while. Before he comes back into the ring, he drops a stiff knee into Sabre's back. Ospreay stays in control with another knee drop and a backbreaker. Ospreay gets a little cocky and tries to lock in a bow and arrow submission, but his submission attempt is reversed into an armbar. Ospreay is able to quickly escape, but Sabre keeps his focus on Ospreay's arm with an arm drag and a hammerlock. He gets Ospreay back to his feet and starts chopping the crap out of his chest until Ospreay hits him with a handspring enziguri. Ospreay turns into Walter for a second and starts chopping Sabre back, until Sabre catches his arm and tries to lock in an armbar. But Ospreay reverses him and hits a Bloody Sunday. Even though Ospreay's arm is in pain, he continues to fire off stiff forearms to Sabre's head. But Sabre's able to get Ospreay down, and then he Pinaldo kicks him, but Ospreay gets right up and heel kicks him. Ospreay tries for a suplex, but he gets reversed into a sleeper. Only for a moment though, because he puts Sabre in position for a cheeky Nando's kick and then an Oscutter, but he only gets a 2 count. Ospreay's powerbomb attempt is reversed, and Sabre hits a tilt-a-whirl takedown. Ospreay powers out of the arm triangle, but he gets hit with a Zack driver. Ospreay is bleeding out of his nose, but Sabre has the arm triangle locked in. Ospreay tries to power out and carry him to the top rope, but Sabre takes Ospreay down with a rolling armbar, but Ospreay is able to get the rope break. Ospreay catches Sabre's Pinaldo kick and hits him with a body drop. Ospreay super kicks him and goes for the Oscutter but gets reversed. Sabre shoots for the Zack driver but gets reversed. Ospreay hits him with a Chelsea grin and then a Stormbreaker and wins the match. Ospreay wins his second match in a row against Sabre, and there's nothing fancy here. No high flying really. Just a straight up scrap. Ospreay turns this one into a fight really quick and it just keeps going from there. A hard hitting affair, and there's blood with no blade job. Amazing match with some amazing sequences as well. A lot of reversals and stuff. I give this match a 10 out of 10. Now for their final match so far, because these men will 100% meet again at some point down the road. New Japan Cup 2022. Ospreay charges in immediately and gets a takedown, but Sabre gets up pretty fast and gets some takedowns of his own and locks in a few submissions. After getting worn down with a few arm submissions, he escapes and hits Sabre with a front kick, and Sabre leaves the ring. Ospreay takes control, throwing him into the ringside cage, getting him back into the ring, choking him with his boot, and then hitting him with some stiff forearms. Sabre stops Ospreay's offense with a snapmare and then a neck crank. And then he hits a double calf stomp, another neck crank, and a calf crush move. Ospreay is able to stop Sabre's offense with a roundhouse kick, and when Sabre leaves the ring, Ospreay follows him outside with a diving plancha. Ospreay gets Sabre back into the ring and attempts a springboard move, but he falls because his leg is weak from Sabre's limb work. Sabre tries to lock in the Achilles lock, but Ospreay pushes him off, so Sabre just Pinaldo kicks him. While they're both sitting down, they start kicking and slapping each other. They get more and more intense and they stand up and start slapping the crap out of each other. Sabre attempts a tilt-a-whirl takedown, but he gets reversed into a spinning backbreaker. And for about the next 2 to 3 minutes, Ospreay turns into Walter and just starts chopping the crap out of Sabre's chest. Ospreay gets Sabre outside and hits him with a hook kick, and then hits him with an Oscutter on the floor. While Sabre is on the apron, Ospreay shoots for a drop kick, but he misses and jams up his leg. Sabre then swoops in and locks in a knee bar. Ospreay catches Sabre's Pinaldo kick, but Sabre is able to roll through and lock in the knee bar once again. Ospreay is able to power out and hit a German suplex, but he can't get the proper bridge for the pin because his leg hurts so much. Sabre is able to reverse the Stormbreaker and lock him into the octopus stretch, but Ospreay is able to escape the octopus stretch and drop Sabre onto his head. Ospreay's hidden blade attempt is reversed, and the two men exchange pin attempts. Ospreay then hits Sabre with a Liger Bomb and attempts to hit him blade once again, but he gets reversed once again. And Sabre locks in an arm triangle, then a knee bar, and then a rear naked choke, and makes Ospreay tap. Another great match from these two. It features pretty much what you would expect. A lot of amazing sequences, reversals, submissions, not much high flying in this match. A lot of hard hitting and stiff shots, but it's still amazing, and I will give this match another 10 out of 10. Quite easily, in my opinion, the greatest British in-ring rivalry of all time. I have never seen two wrestlers with such amazing chemistry in the ring. The way that they're able to just string together these insane sequences never fails to blow my mind. And it's just so cool to see how they progress over the course of matches, coming up with new offense to attack each other. Anything involving these two men will always be gold, and they're able to just put on these indie epic classic matches with zero effort. It's amazing. And I just can't wait to see where their feud goes in the future, because they're both still in their prime and still putting on amazing matches. But anyways, thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what your favorite match was, and just tell me how you feel about the feud in general. And I'll see you in my next video.